Organiser Cole Chaston says 100 of the state's top riders, including talented local Craig Chapman, will be competing in tomorrow night's events. Chapman is the New South Wales time trial champion, having beaten Australian representative Martin Vinicum for the title. Cole Chaston says the $1,000 handicap will be the feature event in what promises to be a top night of cycling action.
We're going to introduce a new race tomorrow night, which Jim Sanford has read about from America. It's a winner drops out race. We've run a lot of last over the line drops out, but this means that the winner drops out, and you race the race further till you find the second place getter, and he drops out.
Now some top riders too, including local boy Craig Chapman.
Oh yes, Craig's the New South Wales 1,000 metre time trial champion, and he'll be riding from scratch. So he's got his work cut out because he's got a lot of good boys in front of him. Just in front of him he's got Stephen Cornt, who won this event, I think it was last year or the year before. The year before it was. And then we've got Steve McLeod from Parramatta Club. He's an Australian junior representative, always loves this track too. He's a good draw card.
And the track in good condition at the moment?
Oh, it's never been better now. We've just had a steam cleaned and the lighting's been updated. It's excellent at the moment.
Last New Year's Eve was busy but trouble-free, and police are hoping the story will be the same this time around. Local pubs and clubs are gearing up for a busy and profitable night. Most have special entertainment to attract their share of the revellers' dollar. At West Leagues Club, for example, 2KO will be transmitting the celebrations live to air. Bottle shops and other liquor outlets are doing a roaring trade, especially in Champagne. For many people, New Year's Eve is not merely a time for celebration, but for reflection and resolutions. Newcastle's Deputy Lord Mayor Don Geddes says 1986 was a significant year for the city, and says 1987
and 1987,
will be a
what do you
year
think
of
that
progress.
holds?
I think the 1987 is going to be a good year for Newcastle. The council's adopted initiatives already, which is going to mean there's going to be development going on in the city, with or without federal assistance. And it means the Newcastle public is going to see a change in the city and going to be aware of a need to support the city entirely to make certain the city promotes itself as it should.
And what's your personal New Year's resolution for 87?
Well, I've been directed what my personal resolution should be by my wife and family, and that's to lose weight. So.
Anything nice?
Lake Macquarie Mayor Alderman Jeff
I
Pasfield says this was a busy year for his council, and says that next year holds many challenges.
But we're now, of course, looking to the 56 million that we'll spend in 1987, and we're hoping very much that the works and services that are contained in that will be carried out very well indeed on behalf of the community.
Eve resolution.
Still
Have you got one, or New Year's resolution?
Take heart. Many people we talked to today had the same problem.
No, I didn't make one this year.
You didn't make one this year. Why not?
I always break them.
No, I don't make New Year's resolutions.
Why not?
Well, I don't break them then if I don't make them.
I make them, but I never keep them. So I haven't made any at the moment. I'm still thinking about it.
New Year's resolution. Not to make any more New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll take that. All right.
That's true.
Around Newcastle, people were bringing in the new year in all sorts of ways, passing the time in the best way possible until the clock heralded 1987. At the Park Royal Motel in Newcastle, it was a night for those who wanted something different and were prepared to pay $40 a head for the occasion. The organisers went all out to make their New Orleans New Year's Eve as close to the real thing as possible, right from the room decoration through to the Cajun Creole style cooking. The 220 revellers were not only wined and dined, but there was the choice of being entertained by a jazz band, a piano player, a card sharp, and even a snake charmer. It's the first time the Park Royal has turned on a New Year's Eve too, and organisers say it took 3 days to set up the elaborate decorations. If that was a bit upmarket for you, then maybe the local hotel was more your style. South's Leagues Club in Merriweather packed them in, as did any number of pubs. At South's, the rock band The Rats were playing early in the night on their way to making the record books for the most New Year's Eve gigs in one night. The band played 4 in all, from Caves Beach right through to the Spinners nightclub at 2 in the morning. And then there was always the backyard party like this one in Cardiff. Just relax with your friends and there's no waiting at the bar for drinks. For many, the start of the new year was not the end of the party, and the celebrations went on well into the morning.
Firemen were called to this house in Blackhall Street, Hamilton at 7:20. The house is made up of 3 flats. One was occupied by the injured man, one by his nephew Stephen, and a new tenant, John Baxter, had only just moved in. When firemen arrived, they found the injured man's bedroom well alight. They believe that the fire started when his mattress caught alight. Mr. Baxter recalls vividly how he first noticed the fire.
At about 7:30 this morning, I woke up with the sound of crashing glass. And I woke up and saw the smoke about 2 inches above my face. You could see underneath the smoke, but not above it. So I ran into the hallway and pushed his door open, and there was no possible way I could get in there. I ran and woke Steve up, and I ran out the back to the window. By this time, I think Steve ran in and grabbed him and brought him out into the hallway, and I was with the hose trying to get the fire out. And I realised it was hopeless, so I ran across the road to where I used to live and rang the 000 number and got the fire brigade and ambulance to come straight out. And they arrived, and the ambulance attended to Mark, and we just helped trying to get the fire out in the bedroom.
Paramedics took the injured man to the Royal Newcastle Hospital, where a trauma team was waiting to receive him. Investigations are continuing into the cause of the fire, but it is believed that the man may have been smoking in bed. In another fire, this fruit shop on the corner of Barton and Maitland Road, Mayfield, was ablaze at 2:30 a.m. The shop and adjoining cottage were both severely damaged. The premises was unoccupied at the time, and the cause of the fire is being investigated. This year's line honours went to Catherine and Charlie Nicholas from Nesca Parade in Newcastle, with the arrival of a bouncy boy at 12:20 a.m. at the Western Suburbs Hospital. Mother Catherine was overjoyed with her new arrival and spent today getting to know her new son, which they have named Jeremy. And he certainly is out to prove that he's not a lightweight. Jeremy weighed in at almost 3.9 kilograms. It is the first time in more than 5 years that the Western Suburbs Hospital have had the first New Year baby. Another family who celebrated the onset of 1987 with a new arrival was Gary and Karen Rolfe of Madawi. Karen gave birth to a girl at 9:22 a.m. at the Mater Hospital. They have named their daughter Jade, and she weighed in at 3.8 kilograms.
The Shield match is vital for both teams. New South Wales are running last in the competition and Tasmania are doing only marginally better. The Blues have won the Shield for the last 2 years but have struggled from the word go this season. They must win this match outright to stay in the running for the final. Newcastle's veteran spin bowler Bob Dutchy Holland is hoping to put on a good showing in front of his home crowd. A good display here might be all Dutchy needs to gain selection in the Australian side for the 5th Test against England. But despite some recent good performances, Dutchy is not overly confident of that.
Oh, well, I'm always hopeful. I never give up hope, but I don't know that I'm very close there. You know, Peter Sleep's bowled very well in Melbourne, and so, you know, I'm not sure what the situation is there, but I'm always hopeful anyway.
Both teams arrived at the ground this morning, and inspection of the pitch was already underway. Despite the covers, some rain has soaked through into the pitch at the Union Street end. Rollers and industrial dryers are now being used to try and dry out the wet patches in time for a start after lunch. The umpires will make an inspection of the wicket at 1 o'clock and will then decide if play goes ahead. If it does, stumps will be drawn at 7 o'clock tonight rather than the scheduled time of 6 o'clock. Meantime, the delay has allowed both sides to get in some much-needed practice, especially the out-of-form Blues, who desperately need an outright win in the match to stay in the Shield competition.
You're probably wondering where the hot January sun has gone and if it will return in time to stop your suntan fading. Well, the Weather Bureau offers no relief in the next few days, but for some the bad weather is not all bad news. At the Shortland Wetland Centre, the birds are absolutely revelling in the type of weather only ducks dream of. Up the valley, heavy rains have been recorded with 128 millimetres falling in the Merriwa region in the last 36 hours. Farmers are delighted with the easing of the very dry conditions of late last year. They're hopeful the steady soaking rains will lay the foundation for a drought-free 1987. And for those on summer holidays, well, at least the muggy conditions are a reminder that it really is summer. If you're looking for a scapegoat, it's not up there. In fact, much of this bad weather comes from a high over New Zealand extending to our east coast. And when that goes, look south, because it's from there another front carrying cool air and a few showers is travelling northwards. Like they say, it's good weather for ducks.
Big Island Down Under, Australia has a population of more than 15 million people. The country comprises of 6 states and 2 territories. Newcastle is located just north of Sydney in the state of New South Wales on the east coast of Australia. The city itself has a population of 423,000 people, but it is part of a popular tourist region called the Hunter. Newcastle is best known for its industry. It is one of the major export ports in Australia and has the largest electric energy base in the country. Coal mining plays an important role in the region's economy. As well as underground mining, a number of open cut mines are in operation. Also playing a vital part in the industry of Newcastle is the giant BHP Steelworks plant, which provides hundreds of jobs and is one of Australia's main producers of steel and steel products. The Hunter region, with its harbour, its coal, steel making, wine growing, wool growing, its agriculture, fishing, dairying and horse and cattle studs, its lakes, beaches and rivers, makes it one of the best known in Australia. Noted in particular for its beautiful coastline, just a little south of Newcastle is the Shire of Port Stephens, which has some of the most scenic spots in the world and is of course a popular holiday resort. But back in Newcastle, the world's biggest professional surfing competition is held. Known as the BHP Steel International, the event is held over 6 days and receives local, national and international coverage by the media. Located in the city of Newcastle is NBN Channel 3. It's Australia's largest regional television broadcaster, with a viewing audience of 643,000. In 1972, the station was the first in the country to produce and telecast an hour-long news service each weeknight. The station now produces some 10 hours of news per week, and it employs 16 full-time journalists. NBN's news service shows items of news that would be of interest to the region and its people. National and international news is also covered. The station helps to promote tourist attractions like the animal park at Oakvale Farm. Because our native animals like the koalas, kangaroos and reptiles aren't as common as people think, visitors to our country see the animals at feeding times and perhaps even be lucky enough to pat them. Newcastle is a growing city. It is rich in all aspects of industry, agriculture, business, tourism and recreation. And you are all welcome to come and see for yourself our lucky country, Australia, and all that it has to offer.
This afternoon's concert, organised by the Budger Boys Soccer Club, was just one of the many fundraising events held for Camp Breakaway. 8 local bands donated their services for the concert. The people of the Central Coast have taken this cause to heart and have already raised half of the $500,000 needed for the project. It's hoped the rest of the money will be collected within the next 3 months. The camp was started by Wyong Rotary Club to give handicapped people from all over the state the opportunity of a 1-week holiday, which included boat trips, visits to shopping centres and tours in the country. All these activities are conducted under the watchful eyes of volunteers, many of whom are unemployed. Once the permanent camp at San Remo is built, up to 22 campers will be accommodated, but organiser John Buckland says this dream could not have become a reality without the support of the community.
Many community groups have come in and raised money, maybe not much, but it all certainly helps.
Such as this one today, will this be your largest fundraising drive?
It's got to be close. The Rotary Club had one which is a
Brett Austin is an amazing athlete who hails originally from the Central Coast, where his father Fred put local trampolining on the world map. Brett is no newcomer to a world title. Don Brook, and when you think of small ball rifle shooting, you think of this superb marksman. Suffice to say it's been a life for years, with feats of skill unmatched by many other of the nation's top sportsmen and women. The team of Greg Coulton and Grant Schultz is not the first of the lake's many talented sailors to win a world title, but it makes it no easy to match the skills in what is now a more prominent sport.
Turned the corner the
Robert
other day.
Thompson, it could be argued, is the best jockey in Australia, as he rode more winners than any other in the year just past. He's currently riding better than one winner in every 10 races running the Valley and on the
then
coast.
came Hunter Ben, but it's Gayson in no danger, and Thompson sending Gayson to the line to score by 3 lengths. Getting up to run second, give it the music, Don from Moralia Ladder.
Mark Sainsbury is another top-flight performer from the Central Coast and showed his enormous potential by taking the World Amateur Surfboard crown. He is an athlete whose best is yet to come. Peter Wellham is a young man in a hurry, as he's one of the world's top barefoot water skiers. He's Australian Masters champion and 3rd in the world. Bob Holland is the pride of Newcastle cricket. Dutchy, while no youngster these days, is the nation's top spinner and has been responsible for some superb performances. He was a member of the top Shield team for the last 2 years. Kim Hicks must surely be one of the Valley's fittest ladies, as she is the national triathlon
a little bit
champion
apprehensive
and is
sometimes
practically
when I think about being the
unbeatable these days.
favourite.
TU has made Newcastle his home now for a number of years and does us proud with his great ability in the sport of badminton. He took the silver medal at the Edinburgh Games. Sally Griffiths is one of those talented people who make the Immortals green with envy. She has now played for Australia in both outdoor and indoor cricket, as well as being a state squash player.
Got to take up lawn
Top 10's pretty Greg Hayman won the first gold medal for Australia at the Commonwealth Games. He is a weightlifter in the 52 kg class and is the first Australian to place in the top 10 in the world title.
What's the best an Australian's ever placed in any division?
Matthew Beckley has put the area on the map in the sport of field archery, an exacting pastime that saw him place second in the world. Debbie Pugh is a determined young lady who's been chasing a world title now for some years and once again had to settle for second place in the ladies barefoot skiing world titles. That in itself is outstanding.
The submarine replacement contract has been hailed as the largest development project in the near future in Australia. The $2.6 billion contract is for the replacement of the Navy's ageing Oberon-class submarine fleet. Newcastle has thrown all its weight behind winning the contract. But if recent reports are true, South Australia has gained the support of the federal government. Peter Barrick is the Secretary of the Trades Hall Council and the union representative on both the local submarine contract support group and the New South Wales support group. He says New South Wales state and federal politicians have thrown in the towel up to now on Newcastle's bid.
I don't think they have, certainly in a public sense. There's no evidence that they've played any significant role in pursuing the submarine project for New South Wales. Quite different to the South Australian federal politicians who have played a very public role, have had a very high profile in pursuit of the state interest.
Mike, Peter Barrick has said that the New South Wales federal politicians haven't gone into bat for Newcastle as well as they could have. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I'd have to agree with that. I'm very disappointed that the New South Wales-based federal politicians haven't been making as much noise as I think they should have, because Newcastle depends very heavily on them. We know that we've done an awful lot here in this region to try and make people understand just what we've got going for us here. But anybody that feels that politics won't take a significant part in the ultimate decision making is absolutely naive. There's no question about that.